Hi, it's Kevin May, the Editor-in-Chief of PhocusWire, joined here in the PhocusWire studio by Jim Davidson,
Kevin.
CEO of Farelogix, and Tye Radcliffe, Director
Kevin.
of Distribution for United. Thank you very much. We need to talk about you first, Jim. Not that you don't like talking about you, but it's a fairly important week presumably for you as well as Farelogix. Can you just, you were bought by Sabre, or there's an intention to buy Sabre. Can you just give us a sense of how that deal kind of came about?
Sure. Hey, look, I think that's so a couple of these has been in discussions for some time, and from a Farelogix point of view, our objective at looking at any opportunity going forward is does it help us on a global scale? Does it help us service customers around the world better from a local perspective? Does it help us on performance and all those scaling things where we are in our company right now? So the foundational there is that. If it doesn't do any of those things, then there's got to be a really compelling. Then you look at what does the product match look like? Is there a way to extend the product, create more opportunity out to our customers like Tye and other airlines? And as we explored this opportunity together with Sabre, we were checking off boxes all over the place. And it just made tremendous sense for both companies.
So my understanding is they are going to let you run independently, so it will be an agnostic.
So it's, well, there's obviously things we want to take advantage of, and we can't talk a lot about that. But it's going to be run as a wholly owned subsidiary, and I will be running that entity. It will be in the IT and Airline Solutions Group. Which makes a lot of sense. That's where our customer set is, and so we're pretty happy about where that goes. The products that we have with our customers today will continue, be enhanced, be added on to, continue to be delivered like we've done today. We think that's in the best interest of everybody. That creates value for airline customers. We have a number of common customers, airlines. We think there's a real value there in terms of how our footprint expands and the opportunities for the airline. So yeah, this one made a lot of sense for us. And you know, I will acknowledge everybody kind of has fun with the historical perspective on it, and I've heard a lot of that
You're
today.
preempting my next 10 minutes of jokes.
I know. So, but I have to say it's. You know, I got to meet Sean Menke and Dave Shirk, and I spent a lot of time with those guys, and I think their mission and vision for the company is very different than it was. We wouldn't have done the relationship had it been. Okay. And while everybody can acknowledge that we're different companies, we've been actually engaged with Sabre on integrations of NDC for 2 years.
Yep.
We've learned a lot about each other through those, how our technologies work, how we can accelerate around that. And so the farther that process went, frankly, the more excited we got about it.
Okay. We can bring Tye in here. I mean, this deal has probably taken up a lot of the conversation time this week, which is important because it's an important deal, and I think it shines a light on particularly how far NDC as a concept has come. The fact that it's, you know, one of the kind of the pioneers or the vanguards of NDC. Farelogix is now part of and will be a wholly owned subsidiary of Sabre. Fine. Where was United Airlines in that debate when NDC as a concept was first mooted by IATA? I think we're now 4 years ago, aren't we?
5.
What was United's initial position? Because some airlines had very different views, didn't they?
100% behind it. I joined the NDC working group 2013, I believe, and pretty soon thereafter took over the shopping and booking task force and really jumped in wholeheartedly to try and define the business requirements and get it moved forward. Currently I'm chairman of the Passenger Services Conference, and so, or actually it's called the Passenger Standards Conference now, and I've been recruiting people around United to try and participate in all of the new structure that IATA has come up with in order to try and add strategy and focus to all of these working groups. So we're 100% behind this. We're 100% behind One Order. Our aim is we're not going to be able to make sure that our customers have the type of experience and content that we want them to have unless NDC is successful. And so we're 100% behind it.
So, and by the way, I agree with that. And certainly what I've learned from Sabre, they agree with that. And just one comment on this. I've been called the father of NDC. This guy right here is my much younger brother.
Oh, okay,
NDC.
I thought you were going to say Godfather.
All right, Godfather, maybe. But again,
But that
I
makes
say
him
that
sound
in
quite
jest,
sinister then, don't
but
you?
again, NDC just didn't take technology companies like Farelogix and the other 40, 50, 60 companies out. It really took airlines to drive this based on, and not the standard, the ability, what Tye said, deliver content that's meaningful, and I think that is really, I mean, if you look at what even the Farelogix and Sabre relationship is about, it's about accelerating this.
Yeah. So, Tye, again, I mean, there were a tough couple of years initially, with lots of sparring on lots of sides, not least by your acquirer, and TMCs were very vociferous, and industry groups and things like that. And that's, you know, peace in the valley is something that we've used to perhaps a term that can be kind of given to where we are now. Do you think it took longer or shorter to get to this stage than it actually did?
Do I think it took longer or shorter to get to this stage than it should have?
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting dialogue.
Given how vociferous it was at the beginning.
Why was it vociferous? If you ask people, I think they would say, we feel like airlines left us out, talking about other players in the space. You left us out and you went and did this on your own, and then you forced us to do it, right? And that wasn't really the intention, or that's not what we wanted to do at all. But it was hard to get people to the table to say, let's completely change how we deliver content. And so I think, unfortunately, there were some hard feelings at the beginning, and why wasn't I invited to the party for the initial discussions, right? But I think we have moved past that, and we're at a stage now. Well, look what Sabre's just done. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. A real statement that they're behind NDC and making it a success.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, certainly in Europe, where I'm from, in the UK, there was the tactics by some airlines in Europe that some would argue didn't quite help that dialogue. I'm thinking of Lufthansa and the surcharge and things like that. But you can see that kind of came at the wrong time, when just as everyone was needed to get on board with each other, that happened. It's
unfortunate that so many people have equated distribution cost charges and similar things with NDC. They're totally separate things. So it's unfortunate, but I think people are starting to understand that NDC is really about the modernization, and it's phase one, by the way, right? Phase one, modernize the pipes so I can get the content out where I need it to go, and then we look at things like one order, which is going to allow us to really accelerate how everyone that's selling travel is interacting with the airlines and suppliers. This idea of a ticket and a traditional P&R, we have to get past that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with it. It will be iterative, and I think what is exciting now is the discussion is about how to get that process of iterating through delivering content, and again, airlines will decide what channels they want to use, and NDC actually gives them a simpler path to decide. There'll be some direct channels, there'll be some indirect channels, there'll be GDS channels, and I think that is a natural evolution of how airlines want to distribute. They went from not having internet websites to having websites. Now the extent is they're going to have a relationship directly with some. They're going to have a relationship with GDSs. So this technology is actually enabling that, and I don't see anybody not getting on. Whoever's not getting on is going to lose.
If we can assume that NDC is not a panacea to solving everything, what would you say is probably the number one problem in airline distribution that does still need to be solved?
Yeah, it's the long tail, and again, this is taking airlines' content and getting it onto either a travel agency's desktop, corporate booking tool desktop, the mobile application, and that is the part that I think everybody is working on. It's certainly the part that Farelogix is excited about. It's the part that Sabre is clearly making investments in. Amadeus is making investments, and I think for the airlines to get to where they really want to be, they have to see their competitive product all the way down through to the desktop. And once that happens, then I think this thing is going to blow wide open.
Any other particular problems that you still think? I know that's kind of a general, and a valid general kind of bit of feedback. But is there anything specifically that you think, if that just worked a little bit better?
NDC will get us where we need to go in terms of the ability to put the content out there, but I think what we have to solve for, I tell people this all the time, if all 100,000 travel agencies, I'm making up a number, right, all of a sudden wanted to do a direct connect with me, I'd have to set up a company, a huge organization in order to support all of that. And guess what? We did that many years ago. It was called Apollo at United.
Right, that's right.
You know,
That's right,
and
yeah.
so why are we going to go let history, you know, sort of repeat itself? The GDSs are there. They're serving a super valuable, they're fulfilling a very valuable role for us. But I think the trick is we have to make, everyone has to get comfortable with their own commercial relationship and making sure that the value that is being delivered by that is commensurate, you know, in terms of the fees that are being paid and everything. So I can only speak for United. We're making great progress, we feel, with all of our GDS partners and are excited about the future there. So, but if you had to say, what is the one thing that would change? I feel like somehow the commercial aspect and the flow of money and how it all works, I think it will need to right-size itself in the future.
Okay. Phase 2, you were talking about phases. Phase 2 is probably one order.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Phase 3 is what, do you think?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm too old for phase 3.
I think phase 3 is once you get it out there, right? We're doing XML right now, and you talk to people at this conference, and they say, XML.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite funny. What about JSON?
Yeah.
You know, what about REST? And so as we mature the capability and push that out there, and then we get one order. Think of the cool startups that can come to the table now because they have access to technology that they understand and are familiar with, and they can build amazing things for our customers that we perhaps haven't thought of. That's phase 3. It's enabling that cool stuff, the kids in the garage that have come up with an idea, and now the barrier of entry is much lower. Because if you said to a kid in his garage today, let me teach you about Edifact, they're done. They're on to the next thing.
No, I think that's right. I think phase 3 is I was kidding about I'll be around much longer than you. But phase 3 is really the refinement, I think, and the optimization around that, and better content, you know, more relevant content, better way to search. I think mobile search, calendar search, attribute-based search. I think there's a lot of refinement once that methodology is in place. I think the airlines are going to go crazy on that. I think they're going to basically say, wow, now I can do this, I can do this, and I think there's going to be a lot more competition for the offers that come out. And I think that's going to be great.
So airlines become almost kind of technology companies.
No, I actually don't think they become technology. I think they still become airlines. I think some may invest in their own and build their own technology. I think they'll use that technology to provide greater competitive offers to their customers.
Okay. Don't take this the wrong way. I do hope I last longer than you.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you will outlast me.
Fingers crossed. Jim Davidson, Tye Radcliffe, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.